Conklin and Company continues with Take 3, commentary and analysis from our panel of political contributors.
Welcome back, everyone. We'll get to Jim Tankersley and Skylar Meadows in just a minute. But first, Bill Horman, our political reporter, continues his special series on the Toledo City Council candidates called Give Us an Idea. He profiles Adam Martinez and Sean Enright this week.
It's been an absolute dream.
Adam Martinez is a 34-year-old commercial real estate agent. He's a Democrat who's served on city council for 4 years. He met us at a new building he's renovating into a 36-apartment senior living center. It's his way of improving Toledo.
I wanted to stand up and say I believe in our neighborhoods and I'm willing to take a risk.
He'll spend $200,000 renovating this building to create safe, affordable homes for people. On council, he's pushed legislation getting microloans for owners of very small businesses so they can grow and hire employees. And when we asked him to give us an idea why he should be reelected, Martinez says his commitment to businesses and neighborhoods sets him apart.
I ran 4 years ago on being pro-business, pro-neighborhoods, pro-Toledo, and I think I've kept those promises.
I tell everybody it's a part-time job but a full-time commitment.
Sean Enright is a 34-year-old Democrat, a union organizer who was appointed to council back in February. Enright met us outside city council chambers because he wants to win his seat this time. Crime and domestic violence issues are important to him, but so are stable neighborhoods.
We've done great tearing down the houses. Now we got to change roles of start building the houses back up, and it's challenging.
Enright still lives in the neighborhood he grew up in, and he gives us the idea that close connection makes him accessible.
You get phone calls in the middle of the night of anything from a tree falling down to, hey, this business is thinking about leaving again, and everything in between.
Our Bill Horman with that profile once again. Give us an idea. Skylar Meadows, will start with you. Sean Enright and Adam Martinez both have council seats. Adam Martinez there for, hard to believe, 4 years now, and Enright appointed, but neither one got a ton of votes in the primary. So going forward, going to have to work hard to retain those seats?
I would say yes, because if the election were held on primary day, they barely, if they would make council. No, they wouldn't have made council. So that was one of the things, or barely. So
right
yeah,
on the edge, on the cusp.
Right on the cusp of it. But still, there are people who've never run for council before that beat them out significantly. Like, for instance, Larry Sykes, who's known from school board.
Certainly.
So
Sandy Spang
and Sandy
performed
Spang,
well.
She came in there, like gangbusters. That kind of rhymes, but anyway. Yeah. So the other thing is that it's an indictment of constituencies all across the board, meaning that Sean Enright is the labor candidate, quote unquote. Okay, where were the labor people? But that showed, and that's why we have two independents running for mayor. So I think that Martinez, Enright, any of the at-large candidates, they're going to have to work that much harder because there's not the spotlight on them this time. It's all about the mayor's race.
All right. And Jim, you mentioned watching Bill's piece there that an appointee, not necessarily a slam dunk to move forward in the general election.
Right. We see this all the time at all levels of government. When you're an appointee, you haven't made that connection with voters yet. You haven't been out in front of them. They haven't gotten into the habit of putting you into office, which is something that we are going to have to see Sean Enright figure out how to do, is make that connection with people and say, hey, I'm worth a shot here, not just because some people picked me to be on the council.
We talk about name recognition. Teresa Gabriel and Jack Ford holding a joint news conference this past week talking about a 9-point plan. Two people with incredible name recognition in this town, Teresa Gabriel, longtime city employee, and of course Jack Ford, former council president, former mayor, former state rep, and he wants in again. So it's interesting these two come together. Jim?
Well, the last time that Jack Ford ran for mayor and lost, I didn't even have a kid. And now I have a 7-year-old. So this seems like everything old in politics is new again. But it's also, I think, speaks to the power of brand recognition. That Jack Ford was someone who people could understand what he stood for. And here he is again now standing up. And at a time when it looks like there's a real void, maybe, of candidates who people really have that connection with, here's a guy they're used to.
Press conference is no surprise to me because they're appealing to the constituency and the base, both at the same time. Building new constituency, Teresa Gabriel says, I want to represent the seniors. She has all of this labor background and City of Toledo background. But in addition to that, she's a known Republican, but also she's not running as I'm the Republican candidate. Okay, so kind of moderate. And then Jack Ford, did he seek the, he didn't seek endorsement, did he, from the Democratic Party? So you've got to think about this. They are saying we are the choice.
Well, he will be forever thought of as a Democrat, though.
Right, but we're talking talking about perception versus reality, who's gotten endorsements and who votes. So I think gone in Toledo are the days where we just go and vote based on party affiliation, and that was shown in the primary.
Yeah, and then that goes to the mayoral candidates, of which you spoke. We have Mike Collins and Michael Bell. Couldn't be any more different in terms of policy, in terms of public persona. The way they present themselves and their campaigns.
They have personas?
No, sure they do.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So in a race like this, when you have an incumbent who has certainly that does not have the labor backing, has a kind of a my way or the highway style. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm the strong mayor, and you have the other person who has the labor backing. Is there any one person who has the advantage in a situation like this, Jim?
Well, elections with incumbents running in them, particularly mayoral races, tend to be referenda on the incumbents. So in this case, the chance for Collins is that he draws a really clear contrast with the incumbent. So if Toledo doesn't like the job that Mike Bell's been doing, here's a guy who's promising to do it in a different way and do very different things.
Well, possibly, but then again, on the ground you're hearing, well, go vote for Collins because he's not Bell. So while it is a referenda, I would agree, this is an atypical election cycle. You know, there's no clear-cut way to engage the constituency, and you don't see the candidates out as much. They may beg to differ after today, but I mean, you just don't see them out as much as in recent history. There's not that much enthusiasm. So at the end game, at the ballot box, who wants to go and say anybody but the candidate I don't like or anybody but the incumbent? That's not a good way to vote.
Well, we're just over a month away now from the general election, and Keith Burris, the columnist in the Blade now, said that the race is starting to gel, and I don't know if I feel that right now. I feel like we're still a ways away from. We haven't even reached the clubhouse turn, let alone the home stretch yet.
It's Toledo politics. There's got to be something left, some dynamite revelation, some big change in the race. I refuse to believe that we have seen sort of the course of the race set in stone right now.
Okay, we're going to see what happens going forward. Jim, I'm sure your keynote speech at the Touchstones was incredible on Thursday.
Awesome.
Right?
It was awesome.
I'm sure it was something. Thank you so much for coming back.
Thanks for having me. It was really fun.
It was great to see you again. Skylar Meadows, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Make it a great Sunday, everybody. We'll see you next week on Conklin & Company.